What is up, guys? It has been a long time since I've made a video on the channel, but I always say this, I'm going to try to make more videos for you guys. I have a ton of people asking me to do it. I'm going to give you guys a little rundown on what has been done to the 75 Power Wagon rock crawler build. We have a trip planned October 25th, 26th, and 27th. We are going to go to Sand Mountain Sand Dunes. I ended up ordering some 40-inch paddles. Those are going to be pretty sick on the back of this thing. They are, I want to say they're 14 scoop paddles and they're 15 inches wide. They are going to be some Magundas. It is going to be badass to see this thing on some paddles. Obviously there's some, obvious changes to the rock crawler since the last time you guys saw it. My buddy Spencer helped me make these filler panels. I decided that I really wanted to run the front fenders on this thing. It just didn't look the way I wanted without the fenders. I know I built the roll bar, fenders, but I ended up saying ditch the idea. I wanted the stock fenders on there, so we lengthened them. I think that section's about 5 inches. Moved the front clip a little bit forward. This thing looks killer with these fenders on it. We are modifying the inside so that the stock hood hinges will work in the stock location, so then I can run my hood. It's got the badass bird bath hood on it. That's just something that I really love about these trucks, and I was kind of bummed that I wasn't going to be utilizing the hood and fenders. So I ended up just saying screw it and doing it. These filler panels worked out really good. I've got to finish getting them welded in and blended. I'm not a body guy, so they are going to look as good as they're going to look, but hopefully it turns out pretty good. I think I am going to do like a faux patina paint job on this thing. If you think I should do that, leave a comment in the bottom. I think I'm going to stick with this like burnt orange, go get some color match paint, but add some like black and maybe some of that cream color that is on the roof. So I really like that faux patina, so I think it looked pretty slick on here. And then if it gets banged up on the rocks, it won't really show that as much. So I got the front core support and grill all mounted. I got these badass JW speaker headlights mounted in there. I had to build some adapter plates so they're adjustable. Something I will be getting rid of is, I know a lot of you guys like this exhaust. I love this exhaust, that hood exit, but it is absolutely miserable to drive in this truck in the passenger seat with the window down. And that's something I really want to be able to do with my passenger. I want them to be able to enjoy riding in this thing when we're wheeling and not get covered in soot. So I think what I'm going to do, I will turn this around, show you guys a few more of the updates that have been done to this thing, and then I'll tell you what's about to happen before this trip. We've got about 2 weeks to get this thing completely ready. We're pretty close. I mean, I don't really have much time to work on this thing. I've been super busy, but I'm going to try my best and get this thing all ready to go so that we can go film at the sand dunes. My buddies Taylor and Bryce from the Speed Lab tore apart Taylor's race truck, pulled his full hook performance 1,000 horsepower 12 valve out of his race truck, bought a donor truck, did a badass build on it. They swapped it all over into this junker truck. I think it says Speedy's Lawn Service on the side. Super badass build, super short period of time as well. They've documented it all on their channel. Make sure you go check out the Speed Lab. They're doing a kick-ass job. We are all going to be out there filming both trucks. He also bought some 35-inch paddles to throw on the back of his truck. I think that truck ran like a 10-2 in the quarter with full interior, full weight truck, full bed, everything. So I'm curious to see how this thing is with a gutted bed, gutted interior, and just a cage and some bed skins. So we will be recording all that whole weekend of Halloween at Sand Mountain. So let me turn this thing around and show you what I'm thinking for the new exhaust. And like I said before, if you, I'd like to see what you guys think I should go with. I've got 2 ideas that I'm going to do. So just drop a comment and tell me what you think I should do, and then I'll do a video building out the exhaust. So like I was saying, the grill is all mounted. I got to add a couple more bolts, but I've got to add a fan shroud. We've been driving this thing around. It's a freaking blast to drive. These filler panels Spencer built turned out awesome. They're just tacked in there, but I've got to finish welding those up. I do regret having to get rid of this, but it will be a lot nicer. So my next idea, something I'm going to work on tonight, the truck has a lot of body roll, and I get it, it's a rock crawler, but I also want to go rip this thing at the sand dunes. And on the road, if I go to a different trail, I want to be able to drive it and not have to, you know, jerk the wheel to get it to center back out. So I am going to have to remove these reservoir mounts I built. I'm probably going to clock the hoses up and mount the resis either up here or somewhere up here. I haven't decided really where I'm going to mount the reservoirs. But this is a Ford F450 or F550 front sway bar. It's actually like the perfect width. So what I'm going to do is, these are kind of interrupting my ability to kind of show you where this is actually going to land. So once I cut these off, I will show you guys after that's all done, so then you can kind of get a better idea of where this sway bar is actually going to run. But I'm going to build some mounts that are going to utilize just the rubber mounts that a Super Duty uses. They are going to bolt on right here, and then that sway bar should come down and kind of land like right here in this area. And I've already got these badass links that my uncle made a long time ago for his Can-Am. So I'm going to build a mount that goes on the top of the trailing arm right here, and hopefully it all lands in the perfect spot so that I can just utilize these little short links. Then that sway bar is going to help return the truck to center. Once it body rolls, it'll bring it back to center so I don't have to jerk the wheel. I think it's going to work out really well. Now, I know there's a lot of different sway bars out there, but I'm balling on a budget, and I'm all about trying to build stuff with junk. And my buddy Carlos hooked me up with this, so I think it'll work great. I figured having the sway bar forward closest to the pivot point would, you know, be the least amount of travel, so that would take out, you know, a lot of the twist that this sway bar is going to see, rather than having it way back here. You know, this truck has 28 inches of travel straight up. Articulating, it's insane. So I really wanted to eliminate snapping this sway bar, so I figured moving it all forward and then going right here closest to the pivot point would have the least amount of travel right here. So to move on to the exhaust, what I am thinking is, I have two options in my head that I think would be pretty slick. I'm thinking about doing just a side exit right here, like that, like a miter cut, slightly rolled down, you know, build a badass mount that ties into the bed, have it angled back, and then do some stainless, you know, work around that sway bar to get it, you know, away from that. I think that would look pretty sweet. My dad had suggested maybe trying true duals. I think this would look pretty sick though, right there. If not, I thought about removing the license plate and doing like a flush mount stinger, that, not flush, but one that stuck out maybe a couple inches, you know, just right there where the license plate goes, just shooting straight up. You know, I've got plenty of clearance up here, so I was thinking maybe just, you know, running it through there and then going from there. So just leave a comment if you think I should do true duals at the bed, a single side exit, or the stinger out the back. I'm curious to see what you guys say. So I'm going to get hammering on this. I got my brother-in-law here. He's going to help record. And we're going to try to get this sway bar all mounted up and get going on that and knock that off the list. I did get a new Rough Country. It's like a, you know, cheap version of the Switch Pros. Like I said, we are balling on a budget. So I got that all wired in. I've got to do a couple other things. Like I've got the headlights wired into high-low beam on a switch over there. And then trans cooler fans, they work. And then I ended up switching shifters. I built this badass mount. That mount for the ratchet shifter, I went with a B&M stealth shifter with the buttons on the side for overdrive and lockup. I need to wire those and put this cover on, but this shifter is way nicer than what I had before. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna order up a sound bar for the roll cage so that we got some freaking music. And then I've also got to tie in my roll cage. You know, this is obviously a frame swap. This is a second gen chassis. I've got to cut this cab mount off. This was just a factory cab mount, just temporary for mock-up. But then I'm going to build a mount that comes off the frame and ties the cage in, because it is just welded into the cab. and I'd really like to tie the cage into the frame how it should be. So I'm going to build a mount that comes off with 4 bolts that'll land into the plate that's welded into the floor. So then if I ever have to pull the cab off, I can remove the cab by unbolting these 4 bolts. And then I am going to eventually build some rock sliders that also tie into, you know, that cage support. And then I've got some dimple dies, so I'm going to build a step that comes out and then do some cool dimple die patterns in it. And then I need to trim this fender for tire clearancing. But we are trucking along. This thing's looking killer. I'm excited to take this thing out to the sand dunes, see what it's capable of. And then I'm also excited to just show you guys some more of the progress along the way. I'm kind of getting caught up for the most part on customer builds. It's just a lot. You know, I'm individually owned and operated, so it's just me in here, so I don't really get much time to work on my own stuff. This thing's been sitting for easily 8 months now. It's over 8 months that this thing's just been sitting. So every once in a while I'll spend a couple hours on it, but not too much. So I am going to try to start making more videos. I always say that, but let's get right into it. I don't know if you know this, but I take safety pretty seriously. Always wear the proper safety glasses or else you're gonna end up with a scar like that, alright? These things are Z87, Z86, whatever it is, approved, and they do the job. This cutoff just came off. I'd be protected. These suck. All right, all jokes aside, use the right safety glasses. Alright guys, so I sketched up a little mount on this piece of paper, kind of a rough guess of what I want. I'm going to draw something in Fusion 360 to mount my sway bar links to my trailing arm. I've got to get new bushings for the sway bar mounts. The Ford ones are clapped out, but right now it's all just kind of mock-up. I'm kind of deciding how I want to do this. I think I'm going to start All right, so to give you a little, let me save this real quick. Crawler, sway bar, mounts, grab one. So this overlay section right here is going to go on top of this. I don't know if it would let me move this. Yeah, I don't think it's going to. Anyways, I'm going to TIG weld this outer edge onto this. It's going to double the thickness of this material, and then it'll give it a little bit more of a like aesthetically pleasing look rather than just a flat plate. So we're going to cut one of these out and see how it turns out. Well, that's the first test piece. Let's see how it fits. Well guys, that is going to wrap it up. I've got to get home. I only have a little bit of time to work on this thing here and there. Bradley's going to start helping me with the footage and the editing and all that, so that's going to really make things easier to make some videos for you guys. It doesn't look like we got a ton done. We really didn't. Really, it's just kind of thinking and designing parts. It just takes a little bit more time. This should work out well, I think. I just drilled and tapped the frame there. I've got to get new bushings for this sway bar. Hopefully for the Ford Super Duties, there's a couple upgrades. I mean, these stock ones kind of suck, but hopefully just new bushings will help a lot. I had to remove my resis from where they were. In theory, these should work pretty well. It should cycle as much as I need. So the way I'm looking at it is, I think that this is going to tie in here, and I'm going to cycle the suspension. I'm going to tack it up, go to full droop. I think I'm going to make this at a quarter, and then I'm going to kind of look into doing my limit straps here as well, because I don't have my limit straps ran. But if I can tie a tab in here and then use this same bolt for my limit straps, that would work out pretty well. So hopefully this works out. I think it will. If not, we'll be redesigning it, but for now this should be pretty good. I'm going to try to knock this out this week at some point, and then just start chipping away at the list. So make sure you like and subscribe. Drop in the comments what you think I should do with the exhaust, and stay tuned for the sand dune video with this thing. It's going to be pretty sick. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.